get into us, and lead us not into temptation.
Did you drive your car to Mars? Do yourself make space? Hiding behind a Tesla's name, afraid the sheep will wake. Will you save us from our sins? Will you help us to begin to feel the pace we can't call home? The Mars colony of our playing a game with all the souls who don't know deception is your name. Oh, belong.
This is One-Eyed Jack in the Shells, Pope Elon. I think we have one more bite from the Pope himself. Take a listen.
And you can tell it's real because it looks so fake.
Yes, you can tell it's real because it looks so fake. That's the standard of evidence today. If it looks totally fake and unbelievable, the public's going to think it's real, therefore it's real by, well, it's kind of de facto real. And good luck trying to oppose it. There's only a small group of us who are actually actively engaged in the war on real, and fake has been winning since before any of us were born. So many things to talk about. I want to catch up on a few things. A lot of us here are just eager for, let's just have it, President Harris and the alien invasion already, or asteroids. Whatever they're going to do, the sky is falling, and it's not a Chicken Little statement. They've prepared the public for this as an inevitable scenario. Whether it's asteroids or space junk or aliens, the sky is going to fall, and it's going to fall soon, judging by the Netflix propaganda. By the way, we are live right now at ferlive.com. That's Free Earth Radio. Another one of those banned four-lettered F words. It's not just flat, but free. And free is another thing that is actually being warred upon. And I was thinking about this today. It's like, why are the people who are opposing a mandate being defined by that thing that they oppose? Because I oppose mandatory cough drops, mandatory pretty much anything. It's mandatory, you must do such and such, fill in the blank. So to call me an anti-vaxxer, for example, would be wrong. In fact, I'm very vaccinated. I was in the military and a few other jobs. There's no way I could have avoided it, and I think the whole thing's a red herring anyway. If there's anything inside that thing, it's a red herring, a little red fish. It's just a schism to split society. It's just as harmless as a communion wafer, if you ask me. But anyway, to be defined by that is kind of off, because what you really mandate is, or what you really oppose is the mandate. And even now, you can kind of see how it's playing out, because what they've done is they've created a situation where people take sides. And anytime you take sides on something that is clearly us versus them, you got controlled opposition on both sides. And what's happened is, as a result, meaningful conversation about how viruses are probably fake has been lost in the anti-vax hysteria. So here we are nearing the end of 2021, and they brought us media control. Omicron, which if you take Delta and Omicron, it does give you an anagram for media control. It's in your face. Omicron, moronic. Media control for the moronic. And that's what it actually is. Because if you're operating as though the TV screen is another sensory apparatus that trumps your other five senses, then you are behaving in a very moronic fashion. And, you could argue that people who are truly immersed in this hyper-mediated metaverse reality today are in fact in a religious cult, a doomsday cult, that has just undergone a puritanical revision. A bunch of atheists who fear biblical floods, who fear superstitions like body-possessing demons and sin. But they've just been taught to believe that these things have a basis of science. So anyway, let us go ahead and continue with the notes here and what I want to talk about today. The flat earth reset that is happening right now. So yes, the flat earth topic, the whole community, everybody around it, it's undergoing a reset. And we're watching, and I'm covering it very closely because my thinking is we can just build back better atop the ashes once this dumpster fire has burned itself out. So we may discuss that. Jussie Smollett is in the Black Eye Club. His entire staged hate crime hoax being exposed was nothing more than his Illuminati hazing, and I can prove that. Also, Space Wars has already started. There's already a space war going on. It's not just the space junk clouds that are causing the space station to have to dodge left and right every other day, but no, Russia and China are already messing with American satellites with lasers and other things. So it's pretty obvious that they've drilled for the takedown of the American outer space infrastructure. Now, those of you who are listening to Infinite Plane Radio or Dark Matter Radio, Free Earth Radio, you're pretty much the new Illuminati outside of the controlled hierarchy, outside of the pyramid, because you know what's fake and what's real, but the masses don't. So they'll see it on the screen. They may even drop a few objects from the sky, just like in the Truman Show. That stage light falls. Maybe it'll be from a balloon. But whenever the stuff starts falling, it's going to fall. And we've been discussing the predictive programming leading into this stuff. And yes, your Netflix, your black screen, widescreen TV, that black monolith, and your Netflix account, that is, in fact, a scrying mirror that will tell you the future. 2019's entire catalog told you 2020. And, by the way, right now we're in 2021, the year of Mad Max. We're about to go into 2022, which is the year of Soylent Green. Soylent Green is coming, just a heads up. And, someone pointed this out, because I've been saying that maybe it's Soylent Red, because they're saying you can grind or mix your blood with lunar or Martian soil and create a very strong red brick. And someone thought, or it brought this up the other day, they said, hey, could that be maybe what all these red Tartarian bricks was really about? Ground up Tartarians made into some kind of a concrete. Interesting idea. I mean, obviously no. It's just speculation. But the idea of grinding people up into bricks is not speculation. NASA's calling it astrocrete. So you got astroplastic, which is certain wastes ground up into a 3D printable material, a filament, which they call astroplastic. So don't use the eating utensils on the ISS. Just a pro tip. But astrocrete is literally bricks. That's like Soylent Green, or Soylent Red, as I've been saying. And then I just got to thinking about how Elon Musk was saying, well, we're all going to die, so you might as well just die on Mars. And I think his baby's mama, or animatronic, is that thing real? His baby's mama has said that she wants to die on Mars. Like, that's a thing. So dying on Mars means, well, if you die on Mars, they don't have to bury you. And in California, I've been reading reports about how they're going to allow people to be composted. Kind of like how the guy who started Earth Day, the unicorn killer, composted his girlfriend in the trunk of his car. Well, on Mars, they won't have to bury you. Just grind you into astrocrete. Because yes, the first lunar and Mars bases will be these very hideous, nightmarish horror movie structures made out of body parts. Cubstar says, isn't that how Adam was made, from the dirt? Yeah, there's another implication there, from the dirt. The idea of this is a reset. We're starting over. And also the people sacrificing themselves for the new age. So I think there might be some other subtext here. I'm surprised they haven't brought up the notion of cannibalism yet, but I think we're close to that. If I search for it, it's probably already being discussed. But okay, so let's go ahead and get into the flat Earth dumpster fire just really quick here, because that's one of the things that we want to focus on here. This is the 4th year of the Flat Earth Report, which is a podcast dedicated to everything having to do with fake space and the flat Earth topic, all of which has really been hijacked by the mainstream media. They control how everything is interpreted. It's like their priests get to have the final stamp on everything, and I don't really approve of that whatsoever. I don't think that the media should speak for the people who are on the ground, and they don't bother to send reporters, and that's why it's necessary for us to do this. They don't bother to do any of their own research. So here you have front row my account of what's going on, and this is the flat Earth model as of 2021, and it is in fact a burning dumpster rolling down the street. And you'll see why here in just a moment. But now when I say dumpster fire, we're talking about not the topic. The topic itself has been maligned. There is no model. And you could argue that there is no model for the globe. I mean, there's no actual model for what we live on beyond what we've been shown on TV. Like, there's no working model. Like, we're told it's a working model, but have you even tested it? And this idea of testing the globe is like heresy. And the more people got into it, the more the topic has been really diverted into 2 areas. One, dangerous misinformation. Shouldn't challenge the scientists. And then the other, it's been steered into this religious paradigm where there's no interest in science. In fact, they're anti-science. And I'm thinking, no, actually, the question itself is not anti-science. It's questioning the scientists, questioning the establishment. The establishment science is not anti-science any more than questioning the news is actually consistent with journalistic values. And I think that establishment media and establishment science have actually supplanted religion. And between these two, they form a worldview that I think is in many ways fallacious. I mean, case in point, I brought up Jussie Smollett and the Black Eye Club. So let me just go and touch on that really quick. So Jussie Smollett is an example of someone who has basically committed a fake hate crime or a hoax. So he perpetrated a psyop. Like Sandy Hook, both one victim. Only he was lynched, not shot, and it didn't go over well. It was actually so poorly conducted that it was exposed as a hoax. And for some time, I thought, well, there's no way the media could fall for this, and then 24 hours later it falls apart. So I thought, well, maybe there's something else going on here. Maybe this is a way to diffuse the idea of hate hoaxes, that, if there is a hate hoax, the media will cover it and expose the guy, as they've done with Jussie Smollett, whereas they actually ignore more than 70% of them. I mean, there's a book that shows how 66% of hate crimes are later exposed to be hoaxes. So anyway, I'm thinking, well, what's the agenda here with this one? It's probably all just to distract people from the fact that pretty much every hate crime, 60+%, 70% are faked. I mean, this is an admitted statistic. It's common. So anyway, this is just no different than NASA inventing stories of asteroids hitting us. They invent the incoming so that they can establish an offensive posture or claim to be in need of a defensive system or posture. It's a victimization thing. So what we're having here is this idea that the MAGA hats are running around lynching people. And you know what? Despite the fact that the thing didn't happen and it was exposed as a hoax, enough people shared that meme and that sentiment, it did in fact do a lot of damage. So my point being is this. I think the whole thing might actually have been even beyond an exposed hate hoax. I'm thinking maybe it was intentionally exposed. It was never meant to go over. And the whole thing was some type of bizarre initiation, hazing, for Jussie Smollett. And here's how I arrive at that. During his questioning, he was asked about cuts and bruises he got during the attack, and he pointed to his eye and he said, "I have a scar under my eye, a black circle that won't go away after 3 years." So he talks about the black circle under his eye. Well, that I think would categorize him as being in the black eye club. There's no way you can get a black eye from a fake hate crime or a real hate crime and it still be on your face 3 years later. So the black eye club, here's a definition of it. It refers to the epidemic of black eyes on celebrities, public figures, I believe the Pope, a wide range of dozens of rich people and celebrities with the same black eye. In fact, most recently, I think that Richard Branson is now an inductee. And they all go out and they publicly walk out like they don't care, like what the public. These people won't go out in public if they're having a bad hair day. You know, their image is their livelihood, and yet they're going out there with these really gruesome black eyes. No, they're all part of the club. All right, let me see. I'm going to go through comments really quick. Yes, thank you for joining. We're going to be live generally 11 a.m. We started a little early. You can find us on Mixlr and Rumble. We're no longer relying on or even advertising or even naming the controlled platforms from this fascist takeover and the destruction of free speech. So Rumble and Mixlr, we control our audio and video. Just go to infiniteplainsociety.com. But you can also hear us at Free Earth Radio and Dark Matter Radio. We'll be live in the evening to take calls. Right now we're talking about the Flat Earth Reset, Jussie Smollett Illuminati hazing, Space Wars has already started, Sylvester Stallone is a QAnoner, even though he tried to backtrack it, but we'll show you. There's a lot of, look, there's a reason why you still have an encampment of QAnon true believers hanging out in Dallas, Texas, waiting for JFK to rise from the dead. And it's because of celebrities like this. And I don't think they're just being irresponsible. I think that this is actually part of a bigger agenda, as we'll discuss. But let's go and talk about this for just a moment. Because the other day there have been a series of meltdowns among the prominent flat earthers, mostly the movie star behind the curve types, the conference earthers. And they've been butting heads with some of the others. So we'll go ahead and discuss this. Flat Earth dumpster fire. A brief synopsis. Opening up with a quote by George Bernard Shaw. "I learned long ago never to wrestle with a pig. You get dirty, and besides, the pig likes it." So there's a war on the flat earth. You have self-appointed community leaders, influencers, and Netflix movie stars, and they're all melting in the intense heat of inter-YouTube violence. So you have this inter-channel violence on YouTube is actually how a lot of YouTube channels got started. You call out a bigger channel, they respond, you gain some subs. I call it a sub pinata. You hit a bigger channel, and maybe you shake a few subs out. And a lot of people take that approach, and eventually you run out of targets. But I think we're seeing something like that here. And this especially happens when people run out of content. And that was the case with Russian vids, who now goes by RV Truth, because Russian vids, the name has actually been connected to Russian disinformation agents. Oh, really quick, Rudy and the Dogs says, "Free speech is dead on YouTube. They pulled my vlogs and struck me for showing COVID's memes." Oh yeah, there's a war on memes. And this is the thing. The pandemic was always a cover for a clampdown on the infodemic. And the infodemic isn't right-wing or flat earth memes. The infodemic is unregulated memes that aren't controlled by the monolith, by the state church, the world church, which is, of course, whatever comes out of the TV, what's ever been pre-screened and censored, the screened reality. And don't have your expectations set too high for the metaverse, because it's going to be completely sanitized. And by sanitized, I mean it's going to be 100% world stage 3.0, total immersion into simulation. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with this then. Russian Vids was the one who started the fire. He started attacking Dorothy and Jerry over the new Baby Truther show. Russian Vids, though, mostly confined his critique to the 666 you can see in Dorothy's logo, and to their hot take on a woman being tossed into a television by a former NFL player. Then Jake, who was named, Jake the a-hole, well, he opportunistically decided to dive in here. He saw that Russian Vids was attacking these other guys, and so he kind of doubled down on criticizing Dorothy and Jerry and company for enjoying the video of the woman being tossed into the television screen. But then, what's more, Jake took it one step further, and he found this documentary, and I hate to even reference it. It's called Behind the Perv, not Behind the Curve, which is on Netflix. Behind the Perv is a BitChute version of it. So the less said about that documentary, the better, but he detonated that bomb. And Jaron and Dirth took down their channel. They didn't want to do the Baby Truther show because of Jake's criticism. Well, then Jaron kind of turned around. He decided he didn't want to buckle down and be bullied, so he turned his channel back on, re-uploaded the content where they laughed at the woman being thrown through the TV set, and then he ranted for 5 hours about what a terrible person Jake is. 5 hours Jaronism was ranting, not about Flat Earth or NASA or the globe or any of the psyops that have basically shut down our world economies and destroyed everything that's in terms of our ability to shape our own future. No, we're all post-reset now. But no, he took 5 hours to tell us that this particular person, who self-identifies as an a-hole, happens to be one. It's like a great research there, Jaron. Great detective work. The guy stamps it on his forehead, and you're shocked when you go through his videos and you find out that he's exactly as he self-described. Now, I'm not defending Jake Gibson, nor am I defending any of these guys and characters. I'm just observing from the side because we are reporting objectively. So we have an excrement flinging contest between contestants who've all stepped outside of their mutually shattered glass houses, and now they're taking it into the streets. So Jaron threatened to do violence to Jake at least 33 times. He just kept saying he was going to body. He said he was going to. One of them threatened to dismember the other. But anyway, this is where they're at. So during this 5-hour rant, Jaron is attacking Jake and all of the people in the comment section, like Musicians for Truth. Musicians for Truth is a Mandela-affected flat earther out of Canada who suggested that Jake should be killed. Well, this is why Jake then did this retaliation video where, yeah, I think that the feeling's mutual. They all want to kill each other. Well, this is not some ordinary burning heap of stale beef, because now Patricia Steere has jumped in with her claws out. And Patricia Steere is Netflix famous, something of a drama queen, and she always plays the victim. Well, now she has her claws out, which I kind of felt bad even saying that because she's known for having declawed all of her cats. But anyway, she came out after Jake saying, Jake, if you need help with a quality wardrobe or an idea of how to speak with respect or a list of books to expand your mind, let me know. Consultations available. So Patricia Steere, and that's not the worst. I mean, that's actually the nicer of the things that she said. She's even used some pretty bad language. And I'm like, okay. And what she said, though, is this. Patricia Steere said that she did the wrong thing in the past. That she said, quote, Kelsey is handling this as I should have, but I was too nice and I didn't want to offend. Go Kelsey. Well, Kelsey is the woman on the Baby Truther show that Jake Gibson is misgendering. And so she is actually making fun of Jake. She's fighting back. She's not hiding and running as Patricia did. So yeah, Patricia is kind of, I think, realizing that kowtowing to the bullies never works. And now she's seeing this. But it's a little too late. Because despite all of this, Patricia Steere does stand in defense of all of the sex offenders that were exposed on the Behind the Perv documentary. So, you can't stand by somebody who does certain things and then attack this guy because of his words. And that's all he's doing. He's using words. But, on this topic, misgendering is very common among the quote truthers. And I've been called a demonically possessed woman by Bible earthers. It's all just ad hominem. I never let it get to me. But this was one of the main critiques that Jeranism had of Jake. He's really opposed to this whole conspiracy theory that the world itself is ruled over not by reptilians, but by satanic androgens. It's an interesting theory. I mean, I've looked into it. I don't have any evidence. But there's a lot of people who advance that theory. But to me, it's like extraordinary claims require extraordinary proof. And, someone needs to do their homework and just go do some hands-on investigation. I hope that happens with Kenosha as well. I won't know if Kyle is an act whore or a hero until somebody twists Gage Groskrautz's arm. Or just checks it out to see if it's actually injured as advertised. By the way, Groskrautz means great cross. And I was thinking about